Hi there, and welcome to TinyButton. We're back today, and I'm going to show you how you start translating your first element. Now, in the previous video, I showed you our demo site, and the fact that we added the Italian language in a quick demo. And today, we're going to start translating for the Italian language, and I'm just going to show you how you translate one or two key features or elements here, and walk you through how that's actually being done on the site. So the first thing you're going to have to do is to click on the Edit option. And when you click the Edit option, you'll automatically notice that as you hover around any element on the site, all elements that can be substituted and translated and localized by TinyButton will actually appear within a blue box. Now this, as you can see, is a very powerful feature because we actually are able to either translate forms and drop-downs, and we're able to translate, substitute, even images. So if you have an English image, or if you have an image that you would preferably like us to translate and change for different audience, we can do that. Back to the top of the site. Now what I'm going to do is show you how you start translating an element here. So this is going to be the featured products text, and I'm going to walk you through the three options that you have and the translation rules section. Right, so the three options that you have for translation is manual translation. This means that you already know what the word featured products are in Italian. I don't, so I'm not going to use that option. But if you do, you are welcome to type your new suggestion in the box right now. Now if you don't, you have an option of using our human translation feature. This feature enables you to connect with our cluster of translators that are around the world. We currently have 15,000 and counting, and they are on demand around the clock. And so whenever you send in your translation request to them, it will get translated and you will be notified when the translation has returned. And you can just accept the translation and it will go accordingly to your site. Now I'm going to walk you through this interface here today really quickly. Now the human element is something because you're sending it to a translator, you can actually exclude certain words. So for instance, you can exclude the word product. You can actually place the word product and that would be excluded. You can add additional instructions to the human translator to add certain clarifications what you're actually thinking of in terms of a translation. So if you're writing and saying, okay, translate for an audience that's around the age of 30 to 45, primarily female, and that will enable you to actually add some notes for the translator. And the translator will be able to get more context and really understand what angle you're going with the localization efforts in your company. Now after that, you'll be able to select the quality of the translation. Generally for any static content or marketing-related translations, we recommend going with the Ultra simply because you get the best quality translators working on it. For this demonstration, I'm actually going to be using the machine translation. And the machine translation actually gives you a suggested translation from the Google Translation API almost immediately. As you can notice, this translation suggestion happened in a split second. And now, once you have the translation, this could also be something that came up from the human side. But right now for the demonstration, I'm going to use machine. Now, once you've set up the translation and you've got what you need, you can also set up rules. So you can say, do I want this translation here on this specific page only, or do I want it to appear site-wide? What happens with the site-wide translation is that the same element that occurs on different pages on the site will automatically be translated within the same rule. So if the featured products word appears in 2 or 3 different pages with the same element and same location, that specific element will be translated and the new translation will always show. So that allows you to localize multiple pages and lots of pieces of content, almost immediately if you're going with the site-wide option. Third one is an even more powerful feature, which actually is the contains, does not contain, equal, and does not equal. So here is where you can actually do additional levels of segmentation to say if featured products is translated. I only want to show it to a specific segment of the audience. You can actually insert this URL to say, if my URL contains the word Italian test. So this is particularly useful for you to create multiple types of content of the same element and actually test it across different audiences. So if your URL contains Italian test 1, load content 1. If it contains Italian test 2, load content 2. And that'll enable you to actually segment content based on your audience as well. So it is an extremely powerful feature, and we will have separate videos with tips and tricks on how you can use this to greater depth. But again, for the demonstration purposes, I'm actually going to use this page only, and I'm going to click Save. And the moment I click Save, you can actually see that this translation is now live from the Italian page. Now the way I'm going to show you how this works is I'm going to load an incognito window really quickly and load up digital frames. And if you notice digitalframes.com here, the Italian language as we set up in the previous video will only load if the language on the URL contains the word Italian. So this is where the Google campaign terms on your custom PPC ad campaign terms or your internal URL linking could be very helpful. We set it up that way, so I'm just going to force the word Italian on the campaign. And now because someone's coming through the Italian campaign, they will automatically see the rule that we just created. On this video, loaded up almost instantaneously for them. So this is how your user audience is going to be able to look at your translated, localized version of website as you have set it up based on your rules. That's all for now for this video, for us to actually show you how you can actually create significantly cooler tricks and audience segmentation through the same tools we have just demonstrated here today. Thank you. Signing off for TinyButton, this is Andrew.